Alright guys, it has been a terrible week in the news for male nurses, cause we just keep screwing up. I say we, I'm not part of the group that's screwing up. Somebody else is screwing up. I'm going to talk about 4 individuals today who made the news in the past week for terrible, terrible reasons. Why can't we prevent this? This is not helping other male nurses in the field get along with our patients. First male nurse we're going to talk about is from Farmington, Connecticut. Patient came in due to anxiety. Was looking for something for her anxiety. She was feeling very anxious. Understandably so. We're in a difficult time. The nurse instructed her to strip down into her underwear and gave her a relaxing massage. He was arrested. Yes, you can't do that. That's not okay. You could do an assessment. You can't do a relaxing massage. You can't, don't touch someone like that. You can't do that. In Las Vegas, Nevada, a cancer patient who was sedated at the time ended up waking up and to find her male nurse on top of her. Again, you can't do that. Number one, you shouldn't be messing with a sedated patient as far as touching them to begin with, unless it is medically necessary, such as to look at accesses for an IV, or if they do have some sort of device in them, a trach, a Foley, something like that. That is really the only time you really need to touch a sedated patient. You really monitor a sedated patient. This individual was found on top of the sedated patient. You can't do this. You can't do that. That's not looking good on us. A CNA in Oklahoma City was groping a female patient, which moved on to kissing the female patient, and he later exposed himself to the same female patient. I'm assuming that this all happened within a very short amount of time. This is just big red flags from the word go. CNAs do oftentimes wash patients. They do oftentimes do the bathing of the patients. However, the bathing of the patients tends to stay just washing someone up, cleaning someone up. You're not actually groping anything. You're definitely not kissing anyone or exposing yourself to these patients. This is not okay. This is a terrible situation. Finally, the worst of all, the worst one yet, happened in Phoenix. Now, it actually happened in 2019. However, this nurse just pled guilty to the charges. A woman in a vegetated state delivered a baby after it was discovered that her nurse had fathered the child that this poor woman in a vegetated state delivered. This poor woman couldn't even fight back, and this male nurse fathered a child with her. Poor woman in a vegetated state delivered a child. This brand new human being now has a mother who's in a vegetated state and a father who raped her to create this brand new human life. I really feel bad for the child in this one. I really feel bad for the woman in the vegetated state. I really feel bad for her family. As one, they're dealing with her medical needs, and now they're dealing with a brand new child. This is just the worst circumstance I could ever imagine. It's unthinkable that this happened. The only really decent thing out of the situation is the nurse at least pled guilty. He at least said, yeah, I messed up. But still at the same time, this is a terrible situation. This is something awful and horrible. One thing all of these men have in common is they were all arrested. Every single one of them was arrested. Not necessarily went to jail, but they were all arrested. As a male nurse myself, we can't do things like this. These are stigmas that sort of stick with us. I have definitely been multiple times in a room with a female patient who's like, I don't want him. I'm worried that he will look at me, or I'm worried that he will touch me. And as much reassuring as I do to these individuals and say, no, I'm here to do my job. I'm here for your needs to provide health to you. Sometimes stories like this hinder us male nurses from doing our job. These are terrible situations. Terrible, terrible situations. I mean, the number one thing in nursing is do no harm first. All of these individuals did harm first. I mean, some of these things sound like the poor woman that woke up with her nurse on top of her. She may not have even known the nurse before she woke up. She just all of a sudden woke up. Not only that, she's battling cancer. I mean, she's going through cancer in a sedated state, and she wakes up to find her nurse on top of her. This is terrible. This is not at all looking good upon us male nurses. I know this. I am a male nurse, and I have been in, like I said, in these rooms when all of a sudden these female patients say, I just don't want him. Not only that, 9% of the nursing workforce is males. Out of 3.2 million nurses, 330,000 are males. So when 4 individuals like this, 9%, do something like this, it definitely looks bad upon all of us male nurses. And now we are going to have a harder time dealing with these guys messing it up for the rest of us. I mean, I'm not part of the assaulting group. However, I'm part of the 9%, or the 99.9% of the 9% that didn't do the assaulting. However, it only takes a few to give us all a bad name. And now all of a sudden, all male nurses are going to be linked in with these 4 individuals who assaulted other females, the patients that came to you for help, for health, and now you've assaulted them. And you're going to ruin the trust of all of us male nurses who are not doing this. Terrible week in the news for these male nurses. And it's just terrible. It's unfathomable what these men did, as this should have been their job, and they should not have been doing any of these things, touching these women in any of these ways at all. And I'm glad that they were arrested, and we as male nurses need to do a better job of probably reporting any sort of talk of this happening. When, if I hear another male nurse say, hey, as soon as she goes to sleep or something like that, I can't wait to give her a bath or something like that, I need to report that to management, I guess. I mean, someone needs to know so that these things can be stopped and trust can be built back up in male nursing. Terrible week in the news for us male nurses, and I hate it for us. Just terrible things that some of these men did. Well, that's the end of it today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope that you don't do any of these things. Don't do any of these things. If at all you need help, get a CNA in there with you. I will tell you right now, every single time I had to do something related to like a Foley or some sort of assessment that involved no clothes being on, I always had a second set of eyes, typically a female CNA. I always had someone else with me, sort of a trust issue, because I wanted someone else to watch me. If you need to do something like that, that's fine. Protect yourself, but do no harm first, and don't harm these patients. They're coming to you for help. They're not coming to you to be assaulted. That's not what they're coming to you for. Hope it helps. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Hope you don't do what these men did. I hope you do not. Talk to you about the next news story on Thursday. If you like nurses making the news on Thursday, somewhere around here is a playlist, and I've got like 4 more other stories from previous weeks. Like this video, check this one out over here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe over there. Thank you much.